Alright, you're welcome to the video. In this video we're going to be working on the dress that you can see on the thumbnail at the beginning of the video. First of all, you will need 4 yards of fabric, and then you will divide them in half. And what I have here is the front part. But the pattern I draft for the front is the same pattern I'll use to cut the back. There will only be some subtle differences. The first difference is that slit. So you see at the bottom of the dress we have a slit in front. So we're going to have to make provision for that for the front, but on the back we don't need to do that. So the first step of drafting this entire thing is we're going to fold 1.5 down like this and iron it, so that at the bottom of the dress we can have that slit effect that we want. So let me iron this down. So before I start ironing, please, in case I didn't mention, I have put the fabric on the fold already. So this is where I have the 2 yards. Starting from there, that is 1 yard, and then it goes down 2 yards. This here is the width of the fabric, so it's by 60. So that's the width of the fabric. So let me iron it down, just in case I didn't say it before. Okay, so after I have done that, next thing I'm going to do is very simple. This is a very easy dress. I'm keeping 1/2 inch at the top for my allowance for joining both sides of the shoulder together. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark to place my shoulder. So the shoulder is 14. It's 14 divided by 2 is 7 inches. So I'm going to place 7 inches. Starting from the edge here, I'm going to make a mark at 7 inches. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my my sleeve length. So you're going to need to measure like as if you were going to attach a sleeve to it, from the shoulder going down, and for me that number is 10 inches. So from this 7 I'm going to place 10. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place our underbust length and use that to find our bust. So the underbust length is 14. From the shoulder I'm going to come down to 14 and make a mark. Alright, and then from there I know that my bust is going to sit at 10, and 10 inches after the underbust length is where we would have our hip. Alright, so your underbust length plus 10 inches is where, around there is where your hip is going to fall. So when you have done that, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place our bust measurement on the bust line. So the bust measurement we're working with is 34. 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. I'm going to place 8.5 starting from the edge here. And then we're going to come to the hip and place the hip. The hip we're working with is 40. 40 divided by 4 is 10. We're going to place 10 right here where the hip is going to be. And then the next thing we're going to do is you're going to have to place your dress length of 60 inches. So you're going to start from the shoulder here. My dress length is 60 inches. So you're going to simply just go all the way down and make a mark. For me, table is not long enough to get me to let me turn this down now. It's in the worry. Excuse me. So for me, the table is not long enough to give me 60 inches. It stops at 51, but I have 60 inches somewhere around the bottom here. So let's assume that your length is 51. You make a mark at that 51, okay? But for me, my length is 60, so I'm going to go all the way down here and make a mark. So I'm now going to add all my allowances. So I'm placing 3.5 inches of allowance on all sides. So I'm placing 3.5 inches here, okay? I'm going to place 3.5 inches on the hip, and I'll place this 3.5 inch at the dress length, okay? Now, sorry, in case I forgot to add, alright, at the bottom here, whatever you place on your hip is what you place at the bottom of the dress. So our hip was 40, you come to the bottom of the dress, you make a mark at 40, and then after that you now add your allowance of 3.5, okay? So however you treat the hip, treat the end of your dress, alright? So so here I should have around 13.5, the hip 10 plus 3.5, 13.5. I'll make a mark, and then we're now going to connect all these lines to the top. Alright, so you can see I connected it all the way up to where I have the bust. The next thing we're going to do is you're going to come over to the point here where we have our sleeve, the bicep, where we place the sleeve length. You are going to place the bicep measurement divided by 2 over here, okay? from here, come down. Bicep measurement divided by 2. The bicep is 12, divided by 2 is 6. So you can see there, I've made a mark at 6. You are going to add 2 inches of allowance to that number and make a mark. Alright? Then you are going to connect it down. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to just come in here by 2 inches. You see this? This is where the allowance stops. I want you to just draw a straight line of 2 inches. Okay, I hope that the camera is focusing on the right place. You can see there, I've made a mark there at 2 inches starting from this edge coming in, and after that I'm going to simply just connect. So you see from the under bust area, I want to just make a small curve connecting like so. You see that? And then we can now go ahead to add our allowance for the sleeve. So at the allowance here, at the end of the sleeve here, I'm going to add 2 inches for allowance. At the end of my dress, I'm going to add 2 inches of allowance. So please make sure that you do. So before we proceed, if I lift this up, you can see this is where I have my 60. This is that 51 where I marked to give you guys an give you guys an example. But this is where I have my 60 inches, and this is the 2 inches I've kept for my hemming allowance at the bottom. All right. So this is the fabric I'm using for the back. I'm using brocade for the back. I'm going to fold this, place this. I'm going to fold this in half, place it on the table, iron it before I bring this one and cut. For the back, I'm not going to keep this folded edge at the back because we don't need that slit at the back. Alright, so you've seen what I have done. I cut the back pattern using the same pattern we used for the front. The only difference is, like I said, that it doesn't have this 1.5 inch added for the slits. Now we need to start working on the front. We need to work on the front first because of the slits. So first of all, you need to know where you want the slits. That's the slit at the bottom to start from. For me, I wanted to start about 7 inches after the knee. My wife's shoulder to knee is roughly around 40 inches. I'll just add 7 inches to that take my mark at 47. I want you to head over to your sewing machine. I'm not going to show you guys the machine now, but I want you to head over to your sewing machine, and I want you to open this up. And because you iron this, you will have a line showing where you have a line on the inside. So I want you to sew from the top, okay, from the top all the way down to wherever you want that slit to be. So after you have made the stitch, I decided to stitch mine at, from 46, not 47. You come to the front. So you see this midline here. That's the very edge. And you are going to split it. Alright, if you are making this commercially, not like me that's being used for as a free labor for my wife, what you can do is, or what you should do is, you should use your overlocker now or your serger and finish these edges. So finish here and finish here off. Okay, and after you have done that, I'm not being paid, I don't really care, but after you are done with that, you are going to need to lay it flat and iron it. So you see this line here where the fold was before. You are going to need to lay it flat and iron it like this from the bottom all the way up on both sides. The 1.5 we kept, fold it in and iron it after you have used your serger to finish it. Now the whole entire dress is supposed to be like a smooth, silky, rich auntie type dress, so I don't want it to have too many stitches on it. So as for the slit, instead of stitching here and having a visible stitch in front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use hemming tape. Okay, I'm going to use hemming tape to seal the edges and make sure that it stays closed. To make sure that it stays closed but it's still clean, we're going to use hemming tape to seal it down. So after I have ironed everything flat. Now mind you, I didn't iron hemming gum all the way. I just ironed hemming gum at the slits so that the slit doesn't open anymore. And if I turn to the front, you can see that the slit area is looking clean. Alright, because there is no stitch showing. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to join the shoulders together half an inch across. Alright, so I'm going to keep the front side of your fabric of your back facing the front side of your front. And you're going to simply stitch across to bind them together so that I will show you how to go about cutting your neckline. So after you have joined both of them across, what you are going to do is you are going to lay them flat on the table. Now, I have folded it like as you have seen. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to need to cut a piece of fabric. Now, this piece of fabric would, it's determined by whatever you want. The piece of fabric you cut is determined by how you want that, the color you want that design to be, or the fabric you want that design that will sit on the chest to be made of. Now, this is what I want to use. It is 15 inches wide. It's 15 inches wide by 24 inches long. Okay, I cut it to be big so that I have room to shape it however you want. You can make it straight, you can make one side curved, you can do whatever you want. So I made it 15 inches wide and 24 inches long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half, iron it, and place it under here as I'm about to cut the neckline. Alright, and then it's time to cut the neckline. So what I'm going to do is, for the back, you see this part here, that's for the back here. I'm only going to come in by 1 inch. This is the back of the dress. Make a mark at 1 inch there. In front, I'm going to come in to 4 inches. Alright, and then for the width, I'm going to use 3.5. Alright, you can use 4 if you want as well. So, and then you can simply join here to here, you see that, and make a mark from here to here. Now this is if you want it to have a round neck, but as you've seen, mine isn't, and by the time you cut, you see that one cut has cut it twice. Alright, one cut has cut the fabric underneath and the one on top. So if you want to have a round neck, that's how you go about it. But we don't want to have a round neck, or what you have seen at the end of the day isn't a round neck. So let me show you how to also do that. What you're going to do is you're going to take this guy out. You're going to lay it flat. You see that? And then you're going to open this. Now you see the clean side, that's the front side of here, is facing up. Okay? The front side, that's the clean side I'll show you in front at the end of the day, is facing up already. And then you would open this one up and distribute it evenly across the neckline so that we can create that that asymmetrical neckline that you have seen. Remember, the front side of the one underneath should be facing up. So to create that neckline is quite easy. We have a template here already. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down from here to 6.5 inches and I'm going to make a mark. Okay, be careful because now we're marking in front of on the front side of the dress. All right, and then we're going to connect this here to the top. All right, and then I'm going to simply connect here to this circle. Oh, you see that? That is it. Easy as ABC. And then you can go ahead and cut it out. So after you have cut it like so, you can simply remove this part now, and on this part you are going to need to iron on an interfacing. So you can use gum stay if you don't really have a large budget, but if you have a bit of money to spend, you can get cloth gum all right, and iron onto the wrong side to give it some form so that it's defined by the time the person wears it. So now you have a blank canvas. You can make this a U, you can make it a V, you can make it an S, you can do whatever you want to do. But according to the design that I'm following, I'm going to come, I'm basically going to use my eyes to do this, but let's say roughly 2 inches after the deepest point of at this point here, I'm going to come in by 2.5 inches and I'm going to make a mark here, okay? Alright, and then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a curve at this point here, alright? That's why I say it's a blank canvas. You can do whatever you wish at this point, give it whatever shape you want. Alright, after you have decided whatever you wanted to do, whatever you want to do, you can now make sure the front side is facing up. You can now place this one on top and stitch them together. You can use your pins to secure everything down, and you're going to stitch like this. Front side, clean side here facing up, clean side of the facing of this part here facing up. Alright, after you have done that, I'm going to now make little cuts, like little notches into around my neckline so that everything turns inside out perfectly. Alright, so you can see after notching I turned everything inside out and ironed it. Next thing I'm going to do is we're going to start folding so we can iron, okay? At this angle here I'm going to make a sharp cut in diagonally. That's going to allow me to iron here at a perfect angle. So the next thing for you basically is to turn everything, is to iron all the edges. Alright, so now that I've stitched it everywhere, now that I've ironed it and the entire curve is looking perfectly flat, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to my ironing table, to my sewing machine, sorry, and I'm going to just stitch around the edge to hold it in place. Alright, so I've stitched the neck on, and also I went ahead to do this on the sleeve, so a little turn up. I'm going to show you how I did that on the other sleeve. And then I've joined the sides here as well, which is pretty easy. So for that design I did on the sleeve, what we're going to do is you're going to need to cut a piece of fabric that is 5 inches wide, and then you just make it slightly longer than whatever you are dealing with here. So you see this, I kept about an inch and a half here and an inch and a half over here. You are going to fold the 5 inches in half, and you are going to stitch it onto the wrong side. So you place it folded like this, take this one, place it on top of it like so, and then you will stitch from beginning to end. But if you remember, when we were drafting, we had kept 2 inches of allowance at the bottom of the sleeve for our hemming. Since we are not hemming it anymore and we're adding this turn up, you will cut off 1.5 from that 2 inches so that it will allow you to do that, okay? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch this one under here onto the wrong side from beginning to end. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to simply cut this shape to be like the one on top, and we're going to cut this one like so. Alright, and then I'm going to turn the bottom and place it like this. You can see this is how it's going to look at the end of the day. But after you've placed it like this, the next thing we're going to do is you're going to hold it there, hold this side here, join the gold to the green, that's front to back, and then you're going to join them together from here all the way down. That's on the side. Now I'm going to join it with just a bit over ½ inch, maybe like 0.75. Okay, so now I have joined from here to here and finished here. Now you can see the way it is. You can go ahead to iron it. If you want, you can push hemming gum inside this and press it so that it stays flat permanently, and you don't have to always, you know, roll it up. So just put hemming gum here and iron it. The last step I'm going to film is I'm going to hem the bottom half. Okay, so remember we kept 2 inches here. I'm going to fold 2 inches, and make sure to use your overlocker to finish the edge before you go ahead to the hemming stage that we're about to start now. So by the time you've done that, you're going to fold 2 inches, iron it, and then we're going to use hemming gum to finish it so that we don't have any seams at the bottom of the dress. Once I iron my hemming gum everywhere, I am done with the dress. I'll go ahead to add side pockets, that's inner side pockets on the dress, but I'm not going to film that. If you are interested, this is the link to that video is on the screen right now, and it's in the description on a link that will show you how to install side pockets to all of your projects. So I'm going to go ahead to iron here and add my hemming gum.